Vanished without a trace, the Angikuni Village mystery. Welcome back to the Timeless File. Today, we're diving into one of the most chilling and least understood disappearances in North American history. It's a story where the facts are few, the questions are many, and the silence deafening. Let us rewind to a frozen November night in 1930. The setting, the remote wilderness of northern Canada. Near Angikuni Lake, a desolate stretch of tundra where snow blurs the line between sky and earth, and time seems to stand still. This is where the Angikuni Inuit people made their home. A peaceful village, small but resilient, surviving through generations with their deep knowledge of nature, ice, and survival, that is, until they were gone. Joe LaBelle was a fur trapper, a man familiar with the harsh terrain and lonelier corners of the Canadian wilderness. He had often visited the village of Angikuni and knew the people well. They welcomed him with warmth on his trading runs, and he knew to expect the smell of cooking fires and the sound of children laughing when he approached, but not this time. As he neared the village, LaBelle noticed something strange. There was no smoke from the chimneys, no movement, no sound. When he stepped into the village, he was met with eerie stillness. Huts stood undisturbed, tools were in place. Meals were set, but untouched, as if someone had stepped away for just a moment and never came back. More disturbingly, LaBelle found no signs of struggle, no footprints leading away from the village. It was as if the entire population, men, women, children, had simply evaporated into the Arctic wind. The dogs had not been spared. Several were found dead and half buried under the snow, starved, still tethered to their posts. For an Inuit community that revered and depended on its sled dogs, this detail was haunting. What could have caused the entire village to vanish, leaving even their most vital companions behind? LaBelle rushed to the nearest telegraph office, many miles away, and notified the Royal Canadian Mounted Police. An investigation was launched, and what they found only deepened the mystery. Upon arrival, Mounties confirmed LaBelle's observations. The village was abandoned, with no sign of a struggle, no sign of disease, no weather event that could explain such a mass disappearance. Then came something even more unsettling. Graves on the outskirts of the village had been dug up. But not by animals, carefully, deliberately, the bodies. Missing. Who would unearth the dead? Why? And more importantly, how did no one see or hear anything? Some versions of the tale mention strange lights in the sky seen in the days leading up to the disappearance. Others describe distant humming sounds that echoed through the valleys, or a strange shimmering in the northern lights unlike anything locals had ever witnessed. While these elements read like the pages of a science fiction novel, they have been told and retold for decades. And the truth, no official cause of disappearance was ever recorded. The incident was quietly shelved, lost among whispers and retellings. Theories and whispers in the snow. What happened to the people of Angikuni? In the absence of hard evidence, theories have filled the void, each more unsettling than the last. The first and most grounded explanation suggests a mass migration. Perhaps the villagers faced an impending natural threat, famine, a predator, or unstable ice, and decided to move swiftly. But there's a problem. No trails were found. No sled marks, no discarded supplies, no footprints in the snow. And the terrain was impossible to cross unnoticed. Even in an emergency, it would take time and leave evidence. But nothing was found. Another theory, an epidemic. Could an unknown disease have struck the village, causing panic and a hasty departure? Yet again, no signs of bodies, no burn pits, no quarantine measures. And if death had swept through, why dig up the graves? Which brings us to the most disturbing hypothesis: someone or something took them. Some believe the villagers fell victim to a government experiment gone wrong. During the early 20th century, the Canadian Arctic was not as isolated as it seemed. There were military outposts, mining interests, and yes, classified operations. Could the villagers have been exposed to something they weren't meant to see? Others point to UFO encounters. Multiple stories from nearby trappers and hunters claim to see strange lights in the sky that week. Glowing orbs, silent, hovering shapes. One witness claimed the sky looked like it was breathing. In Inuit oral history, sky spirits and shapeshifters are not fiction, they're warnings, protectors, or predators. Is it possible this wasn't the first time something came from above? Even stranger are the rumors that LaBelle himself was silenced. Some versions of the story say he vanished years later, never seen again. His reports lost, are CMP files sealed or redacted beyond meaning. There are no death certificates, no names of the missing villagers recorded. No follow-up investigation ever released to the public. As if the people of Angikuni were not just lost, but erased. You can choose to believe the pragmatic explanations, whether relocation, isolation. Or you can look at the silence, the uneaten meals, the tied-up dogs, the disturbed graves, and wonder, if this wasn't an accident, then what message was left behind? A whole community gone, not a scream, not a trace. Only questions buried under snow, waiting for those brave or foolish enough to keep digging. Echoes in the ice. The story of Angikuni isn't just about a disappearance. It's about how silence can be louder than any scream. A quiet village, a peaceful people, gone, no struggle, no farewell. Just traces of life frozen in place, meals half-eaten, dogs loyal to the very end, and graves that should have never been touched, and then, nothing. What makes this mystery so haunting isn't just the lack of answers, it's the feeling that someone doesn't want us to find them. Maybe it was nature, maybe it was man, maybe it was something else entirely. But as long as stories like these exist, we at the Timeless File will keep asking questions. Because history doesn't always leave behind headlines, sometimes it leaves behind shadows. If you found this story chilling, compelling, or just plain strange, subscribe to the Timeless File. Here, we investigate the forgotten, the hidden, and the unsolved. And remember, the past is never truly gone. Sometimes, it's just waiting to be found again.